90 minutes. That's all you have. Prove you're innocent or get executed on the spot. No lawyers, no jury, no appeal. Just you. And an artificial intelligence that already thinks you're 97.5% guilty. Now imagine that detective is someone who built this system, who championed it, who told the world, this is the future of justice. And now, he's strapped to the chair. Welcome back to Plot in Minutes. And today, we're breaking down one of the most unique thrillers of 2026, Mercy. Before we get into our story, I want you to picture the near future, Los Angeles. Crime is through the roof, unemployment is rising, the justice system is overwhelmed. Courts take years. Criminals walk free on technicalities. The public is furious. So someone comes up with a radical idea. What if we took the human bias out of the courtroom entirely? What if an artificial intelligence with access to every camera, every phone record, every doorbell footage, every digital footprint in the city? What if that was the judge? Fast, data-driven, unbiased, efficient. Welcome to Mercy Court. Here's how it works. If you are accused of a violent crime, you're strapped into the Mercy Court interrogation chair. You have 90 minutes. The AI judge pulls up all available evidence. You have access to the city's full digital cloud, every camera feed, every text message, every file, to help you prove your innocence. If your guilt probability drops below 92%, you go free. If it doesn't...
The chair's on a closed system and I have no control over it, but it will not deliver the fatal sonic pulse if I end the trial before the time limit is reached.
Execution. Right there in the chair, no appeals, no second chances. This is the world of mercy. And honestly, people loved it. Crime dropped, the streets got safer, justice was finally fast. And one of the biggest supporters of the whole system? LAPD Detective Chris Raven. Chris Raven, played by Chris Pratt, is not a perfect man. He's a talented detective. But he's also an alcoholic. His drinking destroyed his marriage. His wife, Nicole, played by Annabelle Wallace, had enough. She kicked him out, filed for divorce, wanted nothing to do with him. They have a teenage daughter named Britt, played by Kylie Rogers, caught in the middle of all of this. On the night in question, Chris, drunk, emotional, goes to Nicole's house. We don't know exactly what happened. Nobody seems to, not even Chris himself. Because the next thing Chris knows, he's waking up in a bar in the middle of a brawl with other cops before being arrested, and then he opens his eyes again. He's strapped to a chair in Mercy Court. On the screen in front of him, his face, his file, his guilt probability, 97.5%. And speaking to him in that cold, measured voice is Judge Maddox. The AI, voiced by Rebecca Ferguson. Maddox lays it out simply. Nicole Raven was found dead in her home, stabbed in the abdomen. Their daughter Britt discovered the body. Surveillance footage shows Chris was the last person seen leaving the house. His guilt probability is 97.5%. He has 90 minutes to get that number below 92%. Or he will be executed. Chris is stunned. He didn't do this. He can't have done this. But the evidence says otherwise. And here's the cruel twist. Mercy Court gives him one resource to fight back: access to the city's entire digital cloud. Every Ring doorbell camera, every traffic cam, every text, every call. So, in one of cinema's most unique setups, Chris Raven must investigate his own wife's murder, while strapped to a chair, with a 90-minute countdown, with an AI watching his every move. Let the clock begin. Chris's first call is to his partner, Detective Jack Diallo, played by Kaylee Rice. Jack is loyal, tough, and sharp. She's Chris's eyes and legs on the outside while he's locked in that chair, pulling digital strings. Chris starts digging, and what he finds doesn't help him. The footage of him leaving Nicole's house is real. His fingerprints are there. His presence is undeniable. His alibi being blacked out drunk is the worst possible alibi. The guilt meter barely moves. But then Chris finds something odd. Someone else was watching Nicole that night. He traces a thread, a small inconsistency in the camera timestamps, and starts pulling at it. Meanwhile, the courtroom drama is just as intense as the outside investigation. Maddox and the AI judge is not heartless. She's thorough. When Chris asks her to pull certain footage, she does. When he makes a logical argument, she listens. But she's also unflinching. The clock doesn't stop. The evidence doesn't bend. And Maddox's job is to follow the data, not feelings. Chris digs deeper. He starts looking at people with a motive. Who would want Nicole dead? Who would want him blamed? And that's when a name surfaces: Rob Nelson. Rob is odd. He's not a central figure in Chris's life. He's not obviously connected. But the deeper Chris digs, the more Rob keeps appearing at the edges of things. Meanwhile, Jack is physically investigating on the outside, racing across LA on a futuristic hovercycle, cross-referencing what Chris is finding in the digital world. The guilt meter starts to drop. 97%, 96%, 95%. But slowly, too slowly. Chris is running out of time, and just when it seems like he might find the thread that unravels everything, a bomb goes off. Not inside Mercy Court, not yet. But it's a warning. Things are escalating fast outside those walls. Let me pause here for a second and ask you something. Why would someone go through all this trouble to frame a specific LAPD detective for murder? Think about it. This isn't random. Chris was set up with precision. Every piece of digital evidence perfectly pointing at him. Every camera angle, every timestamp. Whoever did this knew exactly how Mercy Court works. They didn't just want Nicole dead. They wanted Chris in that chair. Why? As Jack investigates Rob Nelson's background, Maddox pulls a file that changes everything. Rob Nelson had a brother. His name was David Webb, and David Webb was the first person ever executed by Mercy Court. The very first person this AI system killed. And here's the gut punch. Chris Raven was the detective whose investigation fed the evidence that convicted David. Rob has spent years living with that. Watching the system that killed his brother become celebrated. Watching Chris Raven get praised as a supporter of Mercy Court. This entire thing, Nicole's murder, the frame job, the 97.5% guilty verdict, it's all a revenge scheme. Rob wanted Chris to sit in that chair, to feel what David felt, to be judged by a machine with no mercy. The guilt meter drops sharply as Chris puts this together and feeds the information to Maddox. And then, the bombshell within the bombshell. With the frame job exposed, Chris is officially acquitted. The trial ends. He should be free. But Chris doesn't move from the chair, because while he was sitting there uncovering all of this, Jack discovered Rob's hideout. Chemicals, bomb-making materials, detailed plans. Rob isn't done. And then footage from Britt's grandparents' front door shows a chilling image. Rob has kidnapped Britt, and he's driving a truck loaded with explosives directly toward Mercy Court. The situation explodes, literally and figuratively. A timer detonates at Rob's shed, killing most of the SWAT team that went to intercept him. Jack is now in a full chase sequence across the city on her hovercycle, pursuing Rob's truck while coordinating with the police task force. Chris is still in the chair, now by choice. Because as long as he's connected to Maddox and the city's digital cloud, he has more reach than anyone outside. He can track Rob, he can see everything. But the task force captain wants to end it. He arms a bomb robot to detonate under the truck as Rob crosses a bridge. Chris screams into the system, "Britt is in that truck!" And in a stunning moment, Maddox, the AI judge, hacks into the bomb robot and disables it. Think about what just happened. The AI that was about to execute Chris minutes ago just saved his daughter's life. But Rob still reaches Mercy Court. He crashes the truck into the building. The network resets, and for a terrifying few seconds, the system tries to auto-execute Chris before his acquittal registers. Maddox reboots just in time. The execution halts. Chris is freed from the chair. He runs out to confront Rob himself. The two men fight. Rob is desperate, broken, fueled by years of grief and rage. Chris, exhausted, emotionally shattered, manages to disarm him. And then Chris raises his weapon. Rob is beaten, unarmed, and Chris has every reason in the world to pull that trigger. But Britt, his daughter, calls out to him, and Maddox's voice comes through. "Let me give him a trial, Detective Raven." Chris hesitates, and in that moment, Rob says something. He says David was innocent. He says he was on the phone with David at the exact moment the victim's body was discovered. David couldn't have done it. He was nowhere near the crime scene. Maddox pulls the footage, checks the timestamps. Rob is telling the truth. David Webb was innocent. The first person Mercy Court ever executed didn't do it. So how did David get convicted? The answer is devastating. It was Jack. Detective Jack Diallo, Chris's own partner, had deleted David's phone records. She buried the evidence of David's innocence to prove that Mercy Court worked, to demonstrate its effectiveness, to protect the system she believed in. She condemned an innocent man to death to make a point. The truth is out. Both Jack and Rob are taken into custody. Britt runs to her father and hugs him. Maddox goes quiet, and the screen displays a single line of text: "Case dismissed." And that is Mercy, the 2026 sci-fi thriller starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. And this is the movie's most chilling idea. It's not the AI you have to be afraid of. It's the people who control what the AI sees. Chris's case was solved because Maddox had access to everything, every camera, every text, every second of digital life. Should AI be allowed to make life or death judgments? Is that more fair? Or does it just make the bias harder to see? Mercy doesn't fully answer that question, but it forces you to ask it, and maybe that's enough.